from the 2020 National Sports Festival. Let's continue our countdown to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. 148 more days to go. 148 more days to go. There's been concerns now about the COVID-18 virus, and also in Nigeria. Yesterday, we listened to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development saying, look, we need to do more in terms of preparing for the Olympics. But he's also confident that Nigeria is ready to compete. Last week, I was busy with the minister. I needed to understand a lot of things. And so I asked the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development, what is that one thing that if we fix this issue, sports in Nigeria will be admirable? What do you think that thing is? One thing that if we get it right, to say, look, this thing has been a problem. If we get it out of the way, sports in Nigeria will start shining. I threw that question to Sunday Dari. This is what he answered.
Well, you know, it's tough to just nail it down to one single issue. But funding is key. You know, like they say, is the economy stupid? Is funding stupid? And just look at the facts or the statistics. You look at countries like the UK, South Africa, Jamaica, United States of America. You look at the funding that goes into sports, particularly preparation for Olympics, is shocking. What we have is just pittance. For instance, most of them have lottery funds. Jamaica, 33% of lottery fund goes directly into funding, grants for the athletes. It also takes care of the athletes. You look at South Africa, about 41%. You go to the UK, about 34%, direct funded. Nigeria, it's zero. Unless you just go to lottery fund and then you try to make a case, and then they give you some money. And it's tough. We have 38 federations. We have a limited budget. They have qualifiers. We have to fund them. And that's why we came up with the idea of having our federations be like quasi-NGOs. The government cannot fund them 100%. So we say, well, from time to time, we can fund you 30%, 40%, and also provide some other support that are non-cash-based. But then you have to go there and look for sponsors. And then they've been able to bring sponsors independently. You know, whatever they get from sponsors, they're not really accountable to the government because it's not government money. We've seen that work a bit, but it's not been enough. And so funding is key. And then you tie funding to long-term planning. You also need funds to do that long-term planning. We want to send our athletes to virtually all the championships that they can go to. Buy them tickets, support them, pay them some training grants and allowances. It's also a function of money. So you might have the best plan as a federation, as a Ministry of Sports. If you don't have the funds to support the implementation of that plan, you will not succeed. Don't also forget, sports is big business. Whether it's athletics or football, basketball, it's big business. Where is Nigeria's business model? Where's private money in our sports development? The world over is 1.3 trillion, the sports industry. In the UK, 34 billion annually. In the US, 31 billion. In Nigeria, 310 million. So we have seen this, but the challenge is that it's not enough to talk about this disparities. It's about what are you doing in a very systemic way in terms of policy actions to make sure that you change the fundamentals of our sport development. And that's what has engaged us in the last 5 months as a ministry.
So that's it. Funding. He said it 3 times. Funding, funding, funding. If we fix the issue of funding, then we'll be doing just fine. And the minister seems to understand what it takes to get it done. He mentioned policy. And we need to have a policy towards making sports a business. Did you hear those figures? In the UK, 34 billion. In the US, 31 billion. In Nigeria, 310 million. We need to do more. Let's go on this quick break. When we come back, what's going on in the UEFA Champions League? I'll tell you. Don't go anywhere. Stay.